I'm Micah from John L. Scott, Real Estate United Firehouse Investments, talking about the question, should you buy or rent? It's a lot tougher to answer that question now than it was a couple years ago, isn't it? Maybe even 4 years ago. The U.S. home prices have climbed. We've seen interest rates increase, while rising rents have made it harder for many renters to save for a down payment. Those dynamic changes have maybe affected the way you are thinking about buying versus continuing to rent. Before the pandemic, the decision usually came down to whether or not you could afford the down payment, since that really dictated what your payment was going to be. A typical home, including taxes, including insurance, hundreds of dollars cheaper than usually renting long term. Now, rent and mortgage payments are much closer. Even when you're putting down 20% on a home, purchases, rents are cheaper than mortgages in nearly 3 out of 5 major metro areas. And it takes a renter, up to 4 years or more to save that down payment than it did pre-pandemic. So on a monthly basis, you're likely to pay less in rent in most metro areas, even for a comparable home, but that's only part of the picture. There are benefits to either option, and everyone will come to their decision with different priorities and values. It all depends on what you expect from your market, whether you see your home primarily as an investment, the length of time you plan on staying in your home, and then definitely the lifestyle that you're trying to seek. So here's some pros and cons to each option so that you can help weigh your choice. So pros to buying a home. Even in today's market, buying a home could be a smart move. It's expensive, but there are 6 reasons I feel why buying a house could benefit you more than renting. 1, you may be able to build equity. Building equity means that you increase your financial stake in the home over time. You can do that in 2 ways: by paying down your mortgage over time, and by buying a home that eventually becomes more valuable than when you bought it. The difference between what you can sell your home for and what you owe on your mortgage is equity. So if, let's say, you could sell your home for around $350,000, maybe you only owe $200,000 because you've paid that down. Well, $150,000 is your equity. That's your money to use going forward. Now, while there's no guarantees that any given home is going to appreciate, homes typically become more valuable over time. History shows that. What makes ownership especially attractive in those cases is that you earn appreciation on the entire value of your home, not just the amount you put down towards the purchase. Well, what changed for buyers over the past few years is the amount of time they can expect to live in their home before the equity growth becomes ultimately cheaper than had they rented. So for example, had you bought a house for $350,000, you put 20% down, that home value really struggled to take off this year. You would have to live in that home for around 7 years before the net cost of buying and maintaining the home equaled the net cost of renting during that same period of time. If mortgage rates fall more and more, values start growing again, you could break even a little over 4 years. So both examples assume that you're paying roughly $2,000 a month in rent, earning about a 6% rate of return by investing the money you would have otherwise put towards a down payment. Net costs means usually costs offset by the homeowner's growing equity or the renter's investment account balance. The longer mortgage rates are elevated, the more home buying is a long-run decision. Real estate can be a long-term game. Keep in mind that the average homeowner stays in their home about 13 years. So if you're planning on staying in your home past that break-even point, it could make sense to buy even in this expensive market. The opposite is true if you're planning to move sooner. If you check out Zillow's rent versus buy calculator, that'll help you kind of navigate these numbers to make a good decision. Keep in mind that most experts say that shelter is considered to be affordable as long as it doesn't consume more than 30% of your income. So number 2, every mortgage payment can help you save. When you pay your mortgage off each month, some of it goes towards the principal and some of it goes towards the interest. So you're paying down your loan. So in a sense, you're adding to your savings as that principal amount you've paid off increases. Those principal payments are considered forced savings since they build equity while you're putting a roof over your head, something you have to pay for regardless, right? If you don't think you'll be reliably investing in, let's say, stocks or other avenues, you can get a decent return by just simply paying off your mortgage and utilizing that as a savings plan. Number 3, you're buying a lifestyle that could be hard to replicate if you're renting. Now, buying a home can give you access to a larger variety of neighborhoods, home styles, amenities, allow you to tailor your home to your liking, whether it's through home improvements, whether it's through backyard living, the landscaping. If you ever searched for a single family rental, you know they can be hard to come by in a specific neighborhood with the specific things you desire. The higher demand for a single family rentals translates to higher rents for those properties. As rent growth for single family homes has been stronger than for multifamily homes, a trend is likely continue that single family home rental values are going to go up. In fact, single family rentals are 4.8% more expensive than a year earlier, while rents for multifamily are only about 2.5%. I like this quote. It's important to remember we find intrinsic value in ownership itself, in controlling the path of our lives and writing our own stories. Buying is a part of that for you. Number 4, your mortgage payments will remain relatively stable as long as you own your home. This is true. Rents go up, but a fixed rate mortgage has a monthly payment that shouldn't change over time. Taxes might affect it, insurance might affect it. Those costs do go up, but it's very minimal compared to an uncontrolled expense that a landlord has over you to dictate what your rent is going to be. For that reason, real estate is often considered a hedge against inflation. It's kind of a way for people to buy and lock the cost of a major budgetary item in their home or in their life. If mortgage rates drop, homeowners can lower their monthly rates by refinancing. There's lots of options there. The majority of renters have no such control over things like that. Since the pandemic began in 2020, rents have surged. You've probably seen this. They've gone up by over 29%, and they continue to trend upwards. Get out of that rat race. Some projections state that even with below average rent growths, rents could easily double over the next 30 years. So put your money in a home. There's also tax benefits. Homeowners who itemize their deductions on their tax returns can write off the interest they pay on the mortgage of up to $750,000. Owning a home may entitle you to other tax breaks at all. We'll kind of get into that in the future. But even more impactful to the bottom line, homeowners benefit too when they sell, right? If you're married, a couple can not pay tax on up to $500,000 of capital gains, the value of their home that went up. The capital gains deduction on a single homeowner is up to $250,000. That's a lot of money. So you may not have to make a fast decision, but depending on your market, your price tier, and the season, you could have more time to look for what you want coming up here in the near future. After one of the most challenging years on records for buyers in 2023, we saw not a lot of people were able to get homes. Home prices did come down a little bit, but they're expected to surge. Are you ready to buy this year? You need to get yourself in that position, don't you? Lastly, number 7, you may be able to use your home to earn income. How's that possible? Rental income, new craze, living in a home, buying a home, and deciding to move out later, turning it into a rental. So now you got a long-term dwelling that's making you income for future benefits. Remember, your first home is not your forever home. Potential buyers need to realize this, that if they're going to stay in this home 3 to 5 years, that's going to help them build to buy something for the future. If they can convert it into a rental, they can utilize that income. So you got to strategize. Did you know that a first-time home buyer can buy up to a 4-plex with their benefits? This could significantly offset your biggest expense and lead to future success. It's also possible to buy a vacation home or something that has a guest quarters that you can rent out. That too will help you reduce that stress of a payment. Stay tuned for part 2 on reasons why maybe you should continue to rent, what the benefits of that are. And again, visit Zillow, some of these other sites that have educational tools that can benefit you as you navigate your purchasing experience. Again, I'm Micah with John L. Scott. Stay tuned for episode 2.